Hey, welcome guys. So you made me clean this room. Come on in, let's get this tour started.
Go my less than 100 subscribers. Over 250 subscribers.
323 subscribers.
Almost 700 subscribers.
1,000 subscribers. I know my last short was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I do really appreciate every single one of you who took the time to actually take a look at the channel and hit subscribe. And I even appreciate those of you who didn't and just liked the short and hit subscribe. I actually wasn't planning on hitting 1,000 this soon, and it's actually at like 1,030 right now, so that's absolutely amazing. And I want to thank everybody, from the people who followed me from the very beginning, to those of you who have given me mentorship and advisement, to those of you who just subscribed today. I really appreciate every single one of you, and I'm just happy you're here. The whole point of this is to celebrate the fact that just because we're adults doesn't mean we have to give up the things that bring us fun and satisfaction. And some of the stuff may be childhood toys that we enjoy, and some of it may be new things that we consider to be toys, and others might see them as tools. And I wanted this to be kind of a place for me to showcase some of the stuff that I have to you guys, but also for others to be able to showcase things that they enjoy. So just as a quick recap of some of the stuff we've done here, we've looked at automotive things, we've looked at video game related things, we've looked at phone and computer things. Just recently I've been getting kind of on a photography kick and been looking at film photography, and actually had the opportunity to showcase a local film lab. And I've actually got a few local businesses in the pipeline to be able to showcase some of the toys and hobbies that people enjoy. But I know the real reason you're here. You want to get a tour of the room. And I know it's kind of interesting that I do a lot of different types of videos, and it's a very video game related room. And that's just because this started off as my game room. This was actually a project that I started before I got into this whole YouTube adventure. So this was actually not designed to be a studio, though it's kind of become my makeshift studio for these kind of segments. I know it seems a little out of place for me to be talking about how to change the seals in a vintage camera while I've got Mario and Luigi in the background. But that's what I'm here to celebrate. The fact that us as adults can enjoy what we want to enjoy and don't have to hide it, don't have to put it behind closed doors. We can showcase it to the world and let people know who we are by what we enjoy. And so the reason this behind me is just because Nintendo's been a big part of my life, and it's something that I have a connection with. So why don't we take a closer look at some of the things I have around the room, some parts of my collection, and I'll tell you a few stories about certain things that have a special connection to me. Let's get started. So starting at the back side of the door you just initially walk through, we have Link's Sword and Shield. It's actually a backpack with a foam sword. Kind of cool. Next up are these shelves that you see in the background of my videos. We'll go ahead and go through each of the cubbies, but the shelves themselves are from IKEA, and they're a 2x4 version of the shelving set. I'll show it on the screen, and they're just kind of stacked on top of each other and anchored to the wall, since I'm in Southern California and we get earthquakes here. Starting at the top, there's some artwork that you don't get to see on video. That's actually from the LA County Fair that my wife and I actually had drawn for us. My wife is a huge Curious George fan, so that's kind of where that comes from. Coming down a little bit, we've got some Mario board games. I have a Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, along with a few Hot Wheels that I actually got from my brother-in-law. And over here is a set of shoes. These were limited edition. You can take a look. Limited edition Mario Vans. Then I have the Hello Pikachu Pokemon controller. This light up PlayStation sign, which is actually just picked up from Target. Battery powered, so I got to replace that every once in a while. And the back here is a project, one of the few you're going to see in this room here that I haven't gotten to yet. The Lego NES set. That was actually a gift from my mom. And over here is a portrait of Luigi. I just didn't know where else to put it. So the first cubby here is actually the limited edition Sonic Mania stuff that came in the box. So it's got a Genesis with Sonic on top, it's got the gold ring, it's got a fake Genesis cartridge that held onto the ring. You can see the area where it was there. And a little metal card that came with it. We'll move on over. And if you want to take a closer look at some of this stuff, you can go ahead and pause or go back. We'll come over here. All right, I adjusted the lighting for you a little bit. I have a few more board games back here. I have the Donkey Kong Jenga. I have a Zelda amiibo. I have the 35th anniversary Game & Watch, still sealed, and the 35th anniversary pin set from Nintendo. There's a few challenges you had to do to be able to buy those. Moving on over, a few more keepsakes. Another set of limited edition Vans. I have some Blockbuster memorabilia I got from the last Blockbuster when I did the photo trip up there. This was actually a t-shirt for Super Mario Bros. 3 for the 35th anniversary, and a bit from the Lego set. Next cubby down is some Sonic stuff. I actually have a Build-A-Bear Sonic, who's surprisingly chubby, my original Sega Genesis cartridge for Sonic the Hedgehog, along with a couple other things. This little cookie tin is actually from Japan. It's Sega Joyopolis. It's a huge place. If you go out to Japan, please check it out. It's like a theme park that's Sega related. I also have a vinyl of the Sonic Adventure soundtrack. Moving on over, next to Sonic is Mario. Again, if you want to take a closer look at some of the stuff, you can go ahead and rewind and come on back. But we got some Amiibo, we got some Mario Kart stuff, we have some figures. Actually, this figure here is actually an original McDonald's toy from the launch of Super Mario Bros. 3. And you can see how his model has been evolved since then. Next one over is a Pac-Man cubby. I've got a few of the miniature Pac-Man games, Pac-Man lunchbox. Again, take a look at this. Let me pull these out. Here they are all on. This one is just kind of like a Tiger Electronics sort of LCD game, but the other ones are actually the arcade games. And absolutely playable. Moving on over, we have another Mario cubby. In here you can take a look at some of the details, but this candle holder here was actually used in my wedding. So this was done on a Cricut. We kind of custom made a lot of stuff for the wedding, and maybe we'll do another tour of some of that stuff another day. All right, now let's go down to Nintendo Row. Down here I have a Famicom that I picked up on a trip to Japan, and underneath a Famicom Disk System, which I picked up on eBay out here, and also my original NES. In the back I have some boxes for the mini systems. Next up is a small Super Nintendo, along with a Super Famicom underneath that, along with a few Super Famicom games. I picked that up in Japan as well, and a very yellowed original SNES. Next up is the classic N64, and there's actually a game in there that was inspired by one of my YouTube buddies. See if you can figure out who that was. And the next very packed cubby is the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U, along with the supporting hardware. All right, let me see if I can do this bottom row in one go. I've got my Xbox 360, the gamepad for the Wii U, which was a special edition, that was Wind Waker edition. Over here I have my original PlayStation, along with a PlayStation 2 Slim being guarded by Barrett in the back. I have my Sega Dreamcast, which was bought brand new back in the day when they dropped the prices on them. And then I have a Japanese Sega Saturn, and if you notice in the back, there's some brown paper with some drawing on it. That's actually a Sega Saturn on the wrapping paper that my wife drew for me on my 32nd birthday. She made my 32nd birthday 32-bit themed. How about that? Actually means quite a bit to me. Now you may have seen this neon light in the background, and when I say neon, it actually is neon. It's not LED or anything like that, it's neon tubes. Moving on down, I have a CRT to play the classic game systems the way they were meant to be played. And I have a Sega Genesis with a 32X and Sega CD attached. The Sega CD door doesn't stay closed, so I have actually a limited edition Ouya console that I actually picked up during the Kickstarter. So see, it's still a useful system. Now would be as good a time as any to talk about some of the overall room features. This back wall here was actually hand painted by my wife and I. We sketched out the pixel art, and we cut a piece of credit card to the size that we wanted for a pixel, and drew it up on the wall, and then kind of did a paint by numbers to color in the rest of it. These blocks are actually IKEA cubes. They're storage cubes. You push on them, and you've got storage inside. So I've got that one, and we painted these the same way we did the wall. We picked the pixel size, and we went through and painted them. And now we have storage that are kind of cute blocks. Over here on this display, I have an NES Advantage controller, an NES Max controller, and the small version of the NES. Coming down here, this is really cool. This Donkey Kong Country Super Nintendo is actually new in box. A friend of mine found it in his attic and asked me if I wanted to buy it from him. So yeah, I immediately did. Let's take a look at it real quick. So it's hard to do it one-handed, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you what's inside the box here. This is what you would find if you bought a Super Nintendo back in the day, with the controller still in packaging, the game, all the documentation, and a completely fresh, non-yellowed Super NES. And then moving on down, we have an Atari 5200, which is a monster of a system, along with the Nintendo Labo set. And moving to the center of the room, I got a TCL Roku TV. What I liked about it is it's cheap, 4K, and actually has very low input lag. Coming down here is a row of mini consoles. You got the Famicom, NES, TurboGrafx 16, Sega Genesis, Super Famicom, Super Nintendo, and PlayStation. A couple of Atari 2600s. I have a light table here along with a pixelator, which I'm going to be doing a video on soon for film scanning. And we come around to the other side here. My PlayStation 4 has been moved to this room because my PlayStation 5 has taken the place in the living room. Now real quick, if we go behind the TV here, what you can see, let me move the light, is a SCART switch. This takes RGB signals from the game systems, and I have it attached to an OSSC, the open source scan, I forget the name of it. I'll put it up on the screen. But what this does is it takes RGB signals from that SCART and it converts it to HDMI perfectly. So you can have pixel perfect retro games on your HD TV. All right, now over here, we have another IKEA case. On top of this is a Club Nintendo exclusive to Japan reward that my wife actually found online and bought for me as a present. Moving on down, we'll go ahead and unlock this display case. And on this top shelf here, got a few figures, but the two things that are kind of special to me is this pair of suspenders that I actually wore back when Super Mario Bros. 2 came out. And then in the back here is a figure from 1989 that I had as a kid. And if you're curious, that's what Mario's hair looks like, at least according to 1989. Coming down here, I have a few handheld consoles and a few games in the back. Go ahead and pause if you want to take a look. And also a WonderSwan Color that I picked up in Japan. This console was actually designed by Gunpei Yokoi. If you know your Nintendo history, he had a very big connection with the Game Boy and the Virtual Boy. All right, moving down to the last shelf, we got a few Zelda things here. I got a Breath of the Wild statue along with the Master Sword back there. I have the box for this limited edition 3DS. And right here, I actually have a set of potions that my wife and I created along with the chest to go as a piece in our wedding, which kind of shows how important some of this Nintendo stuff is to me and how much my wife actually loves and supports me. And down here is actually a ticket to a Final Fantasy VII concert that I went to not that long ago. All right, way too much to go through over here on this side. So if you want, again, pause, rewind, take a look. But here is a portion of my video game collection. I do have a good amount of it still back at my parents' house. And moving on to the next shelf, here is a bunch more games. And the last shelf over here with a few other things. And a couple of bits to point out. This bag here was actually bought for about 500 yen at the Taito arcade. The funny story about that is it was on a little vending machine sort of thing, and it gave us two, and we were honest, and we returned the other one that we would have gotten for free. And looking down, a few of you have commented about the carpet, the kind of retro arcade type of carpet. This is actually bought on Walmart, and these are just rugs that we cut to size for the room. So there's actually a scene here, but it's not actually carpeted. It's not put down or anything like that. They're just a few rugs. Over here is my wife's Cricut. It cuts out vinyl and you can make vinyl things. This is part of a project I've been meaning to get to, which will come on over here. This table that is painted Nintendo gray was intended to be a NES table, and that Cricut was going to be to cut out the elements, the buttons and things like that. I'll probably still get around to it. If you're curious about it, maybe I'll make a video about it. Got a couple other unfinished projects here. I have a Hot Wheels RC Cybertruck that I bought back when that came out, but maybe I'll hold off on that until I get my real Cybertruck. Oh, spoilers, sorry. And then for the last wall. This corner I have a bunch of lights and video equipment that I've been accumulating making this YouTube channel. Moving on over to the couch, there's a few things you might recognize from some older videos, like the hat here and the pizza box back there. This backpack here is kind of interesting. My wife noticed that I really like the zippers on her Kipling purse. I don't know what Kipling does, but they make amazing zippers. So she found out that they had done a collaboration with Namco. So this is a Pac-Man Kipling backpack that I bring out with me. I put my video equipment in there, lights, cameras, stuff like that. And then up here, another story, kind of funny, kind of sad. When I was little, I had a Grover stuffed animal, and it was probably the oldest stuffed animal that I had still owned until it was taken. It was gone. Long story short, it's gone. And it's not coming back. And I told my wife the story about how that happened, and she just felt terrible that happened to me. So she decided to replace it, and she kind of forgot the name, and she ended up getting me a Gonzo, blue monster puppet. And when I got it, I was confused. I didn't understand why I was getting a Gonzo. And then she realized she had gotten me the wrong one. She felt terrible, but I was just taken aback that she would go out of her way, and she cared about me so much to do that. But she ended up getting me a new Grover, and so now he gets to sit here and watch me film my videos. And that's about it. That's the room tour. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. And we got the pups down here. If you have any interview questions for them, let me know as well. And also, having hit 1,000 subscribers, if you are a small YouTuber and you have any questions about what that process is like for entering the YouTube Partner Program and all of that, I am going to do another video covering that. So please leave those questions down below too, if you're curious about how that process is working now in 2021. All right, and there it is. Now you have a better picture of what it is that's around me and some of the things that I'm interested in. So we have a little bit more of a connection now. How about that? So I know I said it in the beginning, but again, thank you to all of you who subscribe, all of you who watch, like, share, all the whole shebang. I just really appreciate you being here because it just feels good to be able to put something out there and connect with people and have people appreciate what it is that I'm throwing out there. And I really want to put a special thanks in here for my wonderful wife who has been so supportive, so patient, and just been there for me every step of the way with this wonderful YouTube journey. So thank you, honey. I really appreciate everything you've done for me. And speaking of that, I'm not the only one in the house with the collection. I think I want to throw kind of a far out there goal of 10,000 subscribers where I'm going to go and do a tour of her collection, which you can see here. But as a little bit more closer to home goal, what do you want to see for a 5,000 subscribers special? Is there something in the room you'd like to see more of? Is there something you'd like to see me do or something you'd like to hear me talk about? Put it down in the comments below. I'll take a look through them, and in a future video, I'll let you know what that next goal will be. But as always, until next time, never stop having fun.